There's a simplicity about wrestling. You versus me. Fixed space. Finite period of time. I move, you counter. You move, I counter. Strength, skill, guile, guts. Everything you've got. All for the right to make the ultimate move.
The Badgers are in the house, led by national champion Seth Gross and All-American Evan Wick. But Minnesota's excited because Brock Lesnar's in the house. Oh, baby, it's cold outside, but it's a packed Maturi Pavilion. It's Big Ten Wrestling, presented by Cliff Keen Athletic, where tonight we have a Big Ten top 10 matchup, and it's a border battle, Wisconsin and Minnesota. Hello, everyone. I'm Tim Johnson, along with my broadcast partner, national champion wrestler and coach Jim Gibbons. And Jim, border battles always mean more.
They really do. And, you know, 2 years ago, if you said that these two teams would be battling, and also in the top 10 in rankings, you'd had a lot of no sales. But influx of talent, influx of attitude, and here we are. And this has the makings to be a great battle, border battle here for a long time to come.
Well, speaking of battles for a long time to come, a couple of sophomores at heavyweight.
Well, you know, you take a look at Trent Hillger. You know, he's the returning All-American. Very talented, great scrambler here. Kind of made his way to the bottom of that heavyweight weight class here. Guy who has the ability to do special things at this weight class. But he's going up against the man, Gable Steveson. And this guy is, I tell you what, you want to show up for warm-ups here when he's in the house. The guy's athletic, who gets it done, who can attack both sides of the body, drives through. Bit of a showman. He's been off the mat here for a while. It'd be great to see him back in the Maturi Center.
Well, speaking of the man, we've got our man, our third broadcast partner, Shane Sparks, who's going to talk a little bit more about why it's so important to have Gable Steveson back in the lineup for the Gophers. Shane?
Well, you alluded to it, Jim. This Minnesota lineup got a huge shot in the arm with the recent addition of Gable Steveson. He didn't waste any time. He made his impressions known immediately, going 5-0 at the South Beach Duels that concluded 2 pins. Talked with head coach Brendan Eggum. He said he's got an air of confidence. It's contagious to the rest of the guys. He shows them day in, day out what it means to truly compete and vie for a national title. Eggum also added, the bigger the stage, the brighter the lights. That's when the best comes out in Gable Steveson.
Thanks, Shane. Starting lineups brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you have built on the web at defensesoap.com. We're going to start at 174. Krattiger versus Skatzka. Sebastian versus Webster. Watkins versus Ritter. We talked about the heavyweights, Hillger and Steveson. Love the 125 matchup. Couple of freshmen, Barnett and McKee.
And you got returning national champion Seth Gross at 133. A great matchup between round of 12ers last year. Mitch McKee won the battle to become an All-American. Braden Lee's off to a great start. And Evan Wick, the returning All-American, 2-time All-American at 165.
At 174, that's where we're going to start tonight. Jared Krattiger versus Devin Skatzka, the transfer from Indiana a couple of years ago, All-American from Minnesota, now on the mat, getting things started at 174 pounds. Really excited. Number 3, number 9, a couple of top 10 teams getting after it here in Minnesota. Like we said, border battle always makes a bigger difference. And there is Skatzka in on the legs for the takedown.
Yeah, did a nice job as driving through right to a single leg. Kind of straight on shot, got right after it. Skatzka's an interesting guy. I mean, he's with his career, you know, a lot of toughness can be shown in the consolation rounds. That's exactly what he did last year. And he's one of those guys that's, you know, hard to get out of a tournament twice. You know, it's a hard, tough out, particularly the second out.
Yeah, and it's hard to get out from underneath. Skatzka's really tough with the legs in. Always looking for points. He's really heavy on top.
Yeah, he is. A lot of what you see right there is a lot of guys put legs in, but they don't, you know, arch the lower part of their back. They're not really putting that type of tough pressure on their opponent, and that's what you see here from Skatzka. Kind of old school, you know, leg riding there, working with the wrist ride. Referee Angel Rivera is going to get a quick stalemate right there. We're going to get a new start.
Devin Skatzka, a 4-time state champion from Richmond, Michigan. He was a wrestler, he's a football player, baseball player, track a star. He's first-team All-State running back, and he started his career at Indiana. The last couple of years he has wrestled for the Gophers after transferring.
Doing a nice job of putting that right leg in. Big open area there. That pocket was open. The distance between the right elbow and the right knee, really easy to slide right in there.
Veteran against newcomer, redshirt freshman Jared Krattiger out of Waterford, Wisconsin, Waterford High School. Solid, good freshman, but up against a seasoned veteran All-American.
Yeah, when you see these freshmen on the mat, the first thing I look at is how are they carrying their weight underneath? You know, they go to the elbows out, wrist in. It becomes really easy for the opponent to basically collect those wrists. That's one thing that happens. Even when you give up the leg right there, you got to keep your wrists free, and Skatzka's just working pretty hard with that. Now he's coming into a, look like he's going to look for the bar arm tilt right there, but see those elbows are out. Really easy to collect those wrists.
Where we going? Red Sterling, red!
Yeah, and that's just bad positioning, bad technique on the bottom there, giving up those wrists and nothing to support yourself but the head. And when you have your head down, you're going to make the impression to the official that you're not wrestling.
40 seconds left in the first period. We're in the first match of this border battle between Wisconsin and Minnesota. We started at 174. We'll finish at 165. Devin Skatzka, ranked 7th in the Flow Wrestling National Rankings. They're our partner in national rankings, Flow Wrestling Rankings.
Yeah, the leg came in pretty easy again. Now he's going with a power half right there. Now he's coming back with the little hip turn. These are the things that maybe late in the match tend up working a little bit better. Got the hips turned that time, but the shoulders didn't follow.
Agam, the head coach of Minnesota, sitting there with Brock Lesnar, and excited to have him on his 20th anniversary of his national championship. We're talking about Brock there, but Brandon Agam in his 4th season as the head coach, longtime assistant coach, several-time All-American as a competitor here at his alma mater.
Nice little change off there. Now you're going to see Skatzka in the bottom position. Uncontested escape right there. And this is really a match where the Gophers, you know, you've got a leader like Skatzka in their program looking for bonus points in this situation going up against the freshman Krattiger.
Yeah, and I was just thinking the same thing, Jim, that 3-0, you know, right now that's something that Chris Bono would take if he can slow down the match and keep it like this. And so the reality is Skatzka needs to get on the move here.
Let him go.
Yeah.
If he's going to hold serve with the bonus points that they expect here.
Yeah, and sometimes you get in a habit of your style to grind a guy down and work with the ties. And you know what? But sometimes you're going up against an opponent that may be a little bit less experienced here. Cut yourself free, go free, and just take the shot. And right now, Skatzka's wasted a lot of time with ties that really haven't helped him. Just a good shot and a follow-through shot might work.
And you talk it about a lot, Jim. He's not actually getting the official on Krattiger. He already has a stall point, and it's his opportunity maybe to put a little more pressure on him than he is.
Yeah, he's taken only 2 shots in the match, but that is his style. I mean, he's a grinder out there. He's going to work hard in the ties, make you work, and as a result, he wins a lot of close matches and wins a lot of matches at the end of the period, in the third period. But as far as this is certainly a bonus point situation for the Gophers. You mentioned Chris Bono. He's up on his feet.
Go, gentlemen. Action, gentlemen.
Talking about the head coach for Wisconsin in his 2nd year for the Badgers. National champion from Iowa State. 6 years at South Dakota State. There's the head coach, Chris Bono. John Ritter, his assistant, also a national champion at Iowa State, but he has to be happy with that Krattiger 2nd period.
Yeah, great 2nd period here by Krattiger. And, you know, we saw it at South Dakota State when Chris Bono had his program working there. I mean, his guys came out there and battled you. The Jackrabbits really got after you quite a bit physically.
He had 5 All-Americans in his last 2 years for South Dakota State, and they were their first All-Americans. Seth Gross, of course, in the lineup for the Badgers tonight, was the first ever national champion for South Dakota State as he wrestled for Bono there, and now with the Badgers. 1 for Krattiger, and Skatzka back in and for the 2 points. 5-1, Skatzka. But could it be a little too late? He's got to move on this if he's going to look for the bonus points.
And probably did.
You're down, buddy. You're down.
Did him a little bit of favor. They're going to go ahead and take the neutral position. Actually, he's going to get the intentional escape. Nope. See if Skatzka is going to go with the optional start. So he's probably going to look for some sort of cradle.
Still green. Still green. Still green. One, neutral.
Yeah. I don't know under current rules when you're hunting for a major why you just don't say, ref, I'm going to let him up. Give him the 1 point. Let's get after it.
So 5-2. There is riding time.
One green.
All right, so the second stall call on Wisconsin's Krattiger gives Skatzka an extra point. And now the score 6-2.
And Krattiger jumps in on the leg. We'll see if he can keep his right shoulder. No, he lost the position on his right shoulder. They're asking,
need one more.
They'll need one more. So, again, you can teach a course on this in college on how to let a guy up, and right now, Skatzka's getting a D. There it is.
Gets it done. If he can ride him out now, that'll be a major. He's out in front 10-3. He's got riding time, which would give him the extra point at the end of the match, which would make the 8-point spread, which gives you an extra point for a major decision. 20 seconds left in the third period.
Yeah, good job there by Skatzka getting right back in on a shot. You notice how he didn't wait? Took him a while to give the escape. But he got that extra team point.
The packed house here at Maturi Pavilion is coming to their feet in appreciation of the bonus point win, major decision for Devin Skatzka to begin the night for the Gophers. They go out in front 4-0 over the Badgers. They get ready for 184 pounds. Johnny Sebastian, the transfer from Northwestern, will go up against Owen Webster, the senior. 2 seniors going at it right now. Should be a really good battle here at 184 pounds. Every match is counting tonight because this is a very close match. They're well matched up for a close meet, Jim.
Yeah, they are. And again, this whole rivalry, I think, is really cool because you got 2 border schools, but, you know, they hunt from the same trough, basically, you know. Minnesota feels like they can go into Wisconsin and grab recruits, and when you're Chris Bono trying to taking over the program, you know, you want to defend your home turf there, and these duels are pretty important here as far as the bragging rights on that, and because they recruit from the same area, Minnesota and Wisconsin, a lot of the athletes come from the same area, they know each other, commonality.
Johnny Sebastian, Wisconsin's 184-pounder, is a transfer from Northwestern. And you'll hear this. We'll have that halftime special with Seth Gross, and you'll hear the phrase transfer portal. And Coach Bono heard that Sebastian's name was in the portal. So he called, and he had a visit, and boom. Sebastian, who has 2 degrees from Northwestern, Kellogg Business School Masters.
Hey,
he's in the Graduate School of Educational Leadership here at Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's got a guy battled injuries throughout most of his career, mainly shoulder injuries, and
stalemate.
Maybe has not been able to go ahead and have the career he would choose to have at this point, just to try to stay healthy. But you can almost sense that little effort to conserve himself a little bit in matches. But it also, he knows how to win the close ones, and he has good technique, and he can attack below the knee. And that's a big deal for him. So again, it may be a little bit difficult to ask him to go ahead and try to get those bonus points back. That's really not his style, but we'll see what he comes up with here.
Both these wrestlers have battled injuries. Owen Webster, he was pretty much not able to train through the last year because of health problems and injuries, and he's been relatively healthy. So it's been a good year for Owen Webster right now from Shakopee, Minnesota, the high school there in Shakopee. He was an All-American at Augsburg for Division III and then transferred into Minnesota's Division I program. A couple of transfers, a couple of guys that are pretty much healthy right now and looking for good senior years.
Yeah, you mentioned the Division III athletes coming up to the Division I level. Well, you know, this area of the country take a look at Iowa, you take a look at Wisconsin and Minnesota. You know, that's the Division III stronghold right there regionally. And, you know, when those athletes feel like they have the ability to go up to the next level, they're going to do it.
Watch carry there. Work here. Work here. Work right there.
1 minute left in the first period.
See both athletes kind of content with that position. Ear to ear. Let's call it the railroad tracks. Feet aren't moving very much here. Looks like both athletes are on a set of railroad tracks. Pretty square to each other.
It's the style that is key to Webster's success, keeping it close. He's a cadet world team member, bronze in the world as a cadet back in the day. Very creative, very tough when wrestling, smart and stingy.
Yeah, and you mentioned health, too. Is it that's probably one of the main reasons. Nice little high crotch, left-handed high crotch there by Sebastian. Oh, wait, good job. He's almost all the way off his feet, but you notice how he was able to go ahead and he wasn't moving his opponent. He was just trying to lift his opponent up. You got to drive through him at this level.
Stay on him. Stay on him. Getting tired. Stay on him.
Owen Webster felt that, popped his hips in, and made himself very heavy.
In the first period, 0-0.
Take a look at that shot attempt there. Left-handed high crotch. Notice how he steps up, but he comes up and tries to lift him straight up. You want to run the man at an angle right there instead of going straight into him. And I tell you what, that got the Minnesota coaching staff off the bench because that was a nice save.
Webster from Minnesota will start underneath. A couple of top 20 ranked wrestlers here. Sebastian ranked 13th, Webster 17th in the Flow Wrestling National Rankings. So Webster will get the first opportunity to score from underneath unless Sebastian gets the points from the top.
Wow, good job there by Webster with the quick escape. I don't think Sebastian's necessarily known for his riding all that well, but in a 0-0 match, you want to try to take as much clock off as possible starting that second period. You never know how difficult it may be to get out in the third. See, Webster starting to take a little more territory. We'll see if Sebastian, feeling that, will back out and maybe hit his shot below the knee. Nice little snap down there.
Big early match here in this border battle between Wisconsin and Minnesota, but every match is big here because it's a great matchup up and down the lineup. But right here, this is going to be decided by a point. It's going to be a takedown. It's going to be something that is a mental maybe mistake by one of the wrestlers here. But right now, Webster in the lead 1-0 by that escape in the second period.
Nice drive through right there. Good job there by Webster following it up. Sebastian had momentary position. He's squaring off pretty well. I tell you, Webster has some heavy hips, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, and he did a nice job with that belly tilt to get his hips back on top.
Center it. Center it.
That was really well executed from a defensive standpoint that you pointed out, Jim.
Yeah. And again, this guy's battling again to see if Sebastian takes one more crack at it.
Yeah, and you talk about that one more crack. Big 15 seconds for Webster here. And he takes a shot.
Yep.
There's a shot. Oh, big.
Square up. Okay.
Really good scramble.
Oh, these guys are going for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Brandon Megan said, get him back in the center of the mat. Get back there, beat your opponent back there, make an impression on the official. Sebastian got dinged up a little bit there in that exchange.
Luke Becker, the assistant coach, they him right by his side, former national champion for Minnesota. So, the end of the second period, we go to the third.
Yeah, good hits from Webster on this shot by Sebastian. You see how he's got that arm trapped up against the body, but you see how that left arm came back through. So it was not only just the hips, but it was actually squaring up and getting that left-handed shot back there. And now in this action right here, he's able to square the hips, sag back, arch with the chest up, the hips down low, shoelaces flat if you need to. Good work.
Here we go with Webster, his opportunity on top. He's listened to you, Jim, a little bit. He wants to take a little bit of ride there, but no. They go to their feet. 1 point for Sebastian. It's 1-1. Here we go. No riding time advantage. They're going to decide it right here.
I think that Sebastian wants to work a little bit more from space, right? Catch him walking into a shot. And I think the guy that wants to close the distance right now is Webster. He's got to be careful, though, that he doesn't reach and have Sebastian come off to the side, because he's pretty square right now, but he'll break free to kind of make that move.
There you go. You're moving, Owen. They don't relax.
Tell you what, Webster is tough to get off your head, and he's got a nice little collar tie, and I think the Minnesota faithful sense that this match may be moving in their direction. Even though Webster hasn't made a decent shot the whole match, he's presented himself and taken territory.
And I think if he takes the long term, he just can't get desperate, because if he thinks ahead, he's not going to get.
Yeah, good job there by Sebastian on the crackdown. He's got to try to get the leg elevated. He shelved it on his right thigh right there. Wow! No, how can you do that?
And a stalling call on Webster. Good call by Angel there, but good scramble to get out of it. Stalling on Webster, but that's his first warning. 25 seconds left in regulation.
That was like a jack in the box right there. Just popped out of that all the way down. Again, operating from distance. There's Sebastian.
Yeah, Webster just won't let him. Clock ticking down. They'll go right to overtime.
This is just an unbelievable job here by Webster. That leg is already shelved. To be able to kick out and roll back through on that. Wow.
Brock Lesnar loves it. Look at that. He's excited. And so are the Gophers. We're going to go right to overtime.
There weren't many guys back when he was wrestling that did that for the Gophers. They were
sudden victory, 1 minute on the clock. Any score wins.
Straight on double. Sebastian cutting the corner pretty hard. They're going to call potentially dangerous on that leg. Wow, that was the first decent shot that Webster took in the match, and he was due. This has turned into a great match for a 1-1. He's taking a blow right here off the collar tie. Now working off the underhook there. This match is improving here for Webster. Now, nice job there by getting the corner by Sebastian, but again, he squared up. Those heavy hips, knocking him to his side.
In the danger zone. Whoa!
Look at these guys battle. Unbelievable.
2 points with 20 seconds left. Webster wins it for the Gophers.
Old school Gopher wrestling right there.
In overtime, takedown in sudden victory. Owen Webster.
Unbelievable flurry between these two cats. Getting after it there. Sebastian, a couple of shots right there earlier, and then the shot. Take a look at the reaction from the bench. That was a statement win right there.
7-0. Minnesota leads Wisconsin after the first two matches. When we come back, we're headed to heavyweight. Gable Steveson, Trent Hillger will be back after this. Wrestling on BTN is brought to you by Cliff Keen Athletic. Wrestle with the best. And by State Farm. Talk to an agent today.
Unbelievable athlete. When he arrived on the scene, Tim, I know you and I were there at Carver Hawkeye Arena with that big fall against West Hand. Statement win at that point in time, but what a fun career he's had, both in our sport and beyond.
And beyond, WWE, UFC, and he is a dapper-looking man today. As we wait for Brock Lesnar to come out, we are going to wrestle at 197. Taylor Watkins for Wisconsin against the former Badger, transferred to Minnesota, Hunter Ritter. Two seniors going at it. Hunter Ritter, third in the Big Ten a couple of years ago for the Wisconsin Badgers. Taylor Watkins has been in the room for a long time, getting his opportunity in the starting lineup. And here comes the man. Hunter Ritter had a motorcycle accident last summer, just shattered his right leg, and so he's been limping around, and he's just fortunate to be on the mat right now, and he's stepped away from wrestling before he transferred to Minnesota, and told me the joys back in the sport, loves the sport, gets the opportunity to express it right here in a new uniform, gets his old teammates.
Yeah, gets in a new weight too. So
Yep.
the guy that's moved up to from 184 up to 97 and had some success there, and he's moved up very easily, and they like how comfortable he looks at the weight. And that's been a big factor in the Gophers' success so far in this season, getting the number 3 ranking. It's been their health. They haven't had any injuries or anything like that, and obviously it increases the amount of time that you can train. Train differently, obviously, when you've got things that are hurt. You know, there's some things you can do, but it's just not the full set, and you just have great practices that way. Keeping that health is a good part of it.
Taylor Watkins, redshirt senior out of Columbus, Kansas.
Right there. I mentioned that win, 184, with just the old school Gopher wrestling. Maybe not the most shots that you're ever going to take, but they're not going to back down. They're going to take the tie. They're going to make you work hard in the tie-ups. Take a little territory when they can. Be tough on the mat.
Release with the other hand, too.
Ritter out of Perryville, Maryland. John Carroll School, was a 3-time state champion in Maryland. Was on the cadet world team back in the day. 2-time NCAA qualifier with Wisconsin. Like I said, 3rd at the Big Tens in 2018.
Action, gentlemen, action here.
Stay loose. Stay loose.
And these guys get tied up here with that heavy collar, but they're also trying to make the other man work. Put weight on that. Nice little drop down below the knee. Good job there by Ritter getting to the leg. He's going to try to scoop the bottom leg, which he does. Now he's clearing the head. As he does that, he's got to try to keep that leg scoop. Wow, nice job there.
Low shot works up and gets the takedown for 2. Ritter goes out in front with 35 seconds left in the first period.
Well, he probably used to get that shot on Owen Webster, but Webster could get out of it. The way he did in that last match was really impressive. You know, if you've got a guy in your room, like Webster showed right there, his ability to scramble through, and he's just heavy in the hips, they are so valuable to you. You know, they may not, they make everybody around them better because you have to work for every shot. Maybe you can get in on them, but you can't finish.
Good choice.
What was impressive about this to me is how he got in from the square position. It really dropped his bottom out of his stance. He actually didn't have a wrinkle in the back of his neck. He just dove at that leg at the angle, scooped the bottom leg, and then at that point in time, Watkins has given up on the position.
Ritter starts underneath to begin the second period. He's leading 2-1, and now it's 3-1 with the escape. 7 seconds into the second period, Ritter gets the escape, goes up 3-1.
And these Gophers are getting quick escapes. Again, they do a great job of working in the bottom position with their big guys. You rarely see their big guys getting ridden for long periods of time. Going back to the days with Jay Robinson, a lot of good changeover work, getting to their feet, fighting hands.
You talk about the statement those quick escapes make too, Jim.
Yeah, and I believe in that so much. I mean, a guy can get the first takedown, and as Coach Colott says, Campbell said that 70%, stats on that wrestler winning the match. But I think they go right back to 50-50 if you can get that good contested escape in under 15 seconds. We saw that in the last match we did with Oregon State and Michigan. A couple of matches that had the quick escapes, put themselves back into the match. It's not the case here with a 3-1 lead. Then you've got a situation where Ritter can actually be thinking about bonus points after he gets that next takedown. So you don't want to shut it down.
Ritter comes into this duel with a 16-4 overall record.
Stay loose so you'll shoot.
There it is back there. Drives back into it. Nice job there by Watkins. He felt
Watkins, a takedown, ties it up. And if he can ride him out here, he'll go underneath and have the opportunity to go ahead. Very important 20 seconds here for Ritter, and he gets out. So up 4-3 instead of a 2-point lead. Ritter only has a 1-point lead because of Watkins getting in for that takedown. Nice job by the Badger.
Yeah, so Watkins only, he's down by 1 point now. With those 2 quick escapes and riding times, again, not a factor, only 6 seconds of it, so.
Hey, we're going to check in with Shane, who's with Owen Webster.
All right, Owen, a crazy match, all kinds of phenomenal scrambles. Speak about the resiliency in navigating that battle.
I just knew if I just kept sticking to my basic defense, Coach Becker, he just tells me I'm great before every single match. So I just go out there, trusting the process, trusting the coaches, and I do good, I guess. So.
What can this kind of win do for you to vault you the rest of the season?
It gives me a lot of confidence. I know I can wrestle with the best guys. Yeah, just keep my head down, working hard, so, yeah.
Super entertaining. Congratulations on the win. Thank you.
Thank you.
Elbow hands, stay loose.
Thanks, Shane. Humble young man. He says, well, I guess I did well.
He did, and there's a guy that is good in a lot of positions. When I break a guy down, you have good defense on the feet, and I think he's established that. He's tough out. He was able to get a quick escape, working on that riding and the go-to shot. He's got he'll soon develop the magic to be an All-American.
Well, the last match was close, and this one's close. It's 4-4. There's a minute left in regulation time. Are we headed to overtime?
Watkins hasn't been able to get a shot off himself. Boy, those are heavy clubs right there with that right-hand collar tie there by Ritter. And so 2 shots to the right leg of Watkins, and Watkins was able to field the second one, and now he's changed direction to the other side. Shot number 3.
30 seconds left in the regulation time. All tied up 4-4. Badgers trying to get on the board. Minnesota leads 7-0 after the first 2 matches. We started at 174.
Straight on shot there by Watkins there, but they fought off pretty well by Ritter.
Center! Center! Hands to the face, okay?
Little hands to the face warning. I really love the way the rules committee has really addressed this situation with hands to the face, calling it, giving the referee some discretion.
Looks like we are going to go to overtime. We'll go to sudden victory, just last time. We didn't get out of it because Owen Webster got that takedown with about 20 seconds left in sudden victory. Here we go. 1 minute on the clock.
Already our second overtime bout. Both coaches are up on their feet.
No, don't touch me.
Well, you heard it here.
Here we go.
Shot right there by Ritter. And looked like for a second there that Watkins was going to cut the corner on him, but a pretty good job of Ritter to getting up to his feet. So shot off the whistle. Reshot there by Watkins. Now, both guys pretty square on their attacks right now. And when Ritter's taking a chance to get down below the knee, he's kind of given the corner. Changes that attack up a little bit. Notice how he went to the other side that time. Good switch.
He can be quick.
Yeah.
Ritter was right there, and no points here. 15 seconds left in sudden victory.
You can just kind of get the feeling that Watkins is measuring that shot. Now they're in a crackdown situation. Watkins, now that's basically, there it is. It's 2.
2 points. Ritter at the edge of the mat. The victory to the Gopher.
But I tell you what, he really deserved that one because he took all the risk in the match and the offense, and you thought just in the secondary that Watkins came right back at a shot. He cut the corner. Let's take a look at the winning sequence. Watkins in on a shot, cracks him down, all right, but his head stays down on the mat. And right there, as the hand is on the mat, right there is likely to, but he was able to go ahead and capture the far ankle.
And we're ready for heavyweight. Trent Hillger, Gable Steveson. They went up against each other last year twice. Steveson had the best of him both times. The two sophomores, two top 10 wrestlers in the Flow Wrestling National Rankings. Gable Steveson, third last year in the NCAA. From Apple Valley, Minnesota, Gable Steveson.
Set.
I think Coach Aiken said in the call that Gable's put on another, maybe another 20 pounds.
Yeah.
It looks like it went to all the right places.
Hillger, a sophomore out of Linden, Michigan. Outstanding high school football player as well. Had to choose between wrestling and football, and he said, I love this sport, and he has done a nice job. Last year as a redshirt freshman, and now this year ranked number 6. 2 All-Americans getting after it.
Nice job there, Steveson getting in on that shot.
That looks like 157-pounders there, Jim.
Yeah. Well, I did not really trying to do the lift right there.
One, neutral!
It's tough to do when the nose is over the toes, take him straight up there like that, but feels a little more comfortable on his feet. And we always talk about, attacking both sides of the body. But Steveson has the ability to go ahead and go low.
Tell me, neutral.
Go to the other side of the body, and he just does a wonderful job as well with that off of that left-handed underhook.
Apple Valley represented here on both sides tonight. Gable Steveson from that powerhouse program, and so is Seth Gross, wrestling for the Badgers. Traditional powerhouse prep program, 4-time state champion. Gable Steveson, 2-time cadet world champion, and a junior world champion in on the leg. Nice job by Hillger there, slipping out, facing up against
Let the fingers go,
Steveson.
John.
That's what
Let him go.
you like about these guys. They like to go ahead and get in flurries. They're not afraid to go ahead and dive back through, kick out, attack.
Hillger was a 3-time state champion in Michigan.
Take a look at Chris Bono. And he's the kind of guy, he's the kind of coach who's going to have a lot of conversations with his athletes about taking away the favorite thing that the opponent likes to do. And he's going to try to take that away. He's much like Bill Belichick like that, just take away what they really like. And right now, you can see that he likes the head position that Hillger is taking. Shading over there to that other side. And so that's the underhook that he likes to work off of. Steveson does. That's just what makes him so special. They attack both sides of the body, and he really works hard off this left-handed underhook. And up until this moment, Hillger's done a pretty good job of taking it away. Now with the mat return, right in the middle.
Boom! 2 more points for Gable Steveson there. Work that in. You might have been able to call that too earlier. The official didn't. Steveson says, okay, I'll take it down. Nice job by Hillger getting out with under 10 seconds left, not allowing Steveson to end up on top.
Let him go, gentlemen. Let the fingers go.
Yeah.
Green choice.
When you're this way, you can pick a man up off of his feet and slam him back down.
What do you want, down?
Brock likes it,
Down.
and he did it a few times to his opponents.
It's a crowd pleaser.
Let's go, Green.
Steveson will start underneath to begin the second period. Out in front, 4-2.
Set, don't move. On top.
Against the All-American Hillger. 20 years ago,
Caution.
national championship for that man. Brock Lesnar,
Wait for that
the
whistle.
Gophers.
Wait for that whistle.
2-time
Set,
NCAA
Green.
finalist.
Hold red, hold. On top. Set.
Nice work there by Hillger, trying to go ahead and capture that wrist. Notice how he's sliding all the way by. This is the type of stuff that you'd see a couple 25-pounders do. Winging back over there. You see the guy clinging on. Hillger is to that leg, and now he's coming up to his feet.
Still red, still red, still red.
How's he going to finish it?
Still
Oh,
red.
beautiful
And a
sweep.
reversal there for 2. A reversal for Steveson for 2 points. inside the first 30 seconds of the second period.
And it was just like a takedown.
Still live
But you
here at
notice
the
how
edge.
he
Still live
when he
here at the edge,
had
gentlemen.
that leg up in the air. I was able to sweep that bottom leg. Really well done.
Well, you know what's so cool here is we're talking about two of the best heavyweights in the nation. Hillger really can wrestle with anyone,
Sit,
but
don't move.
there's just a little bit of
On
space
top, right?
between Steveson and Hillger. Has been. Looks like there still is.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little riding time mix-up here.
Guys, stay right here.
Yeah, I'm watching Brock Lesnar. Brock's excited coaching him. He is, you know, he wrestled with Steveson this morning.
Let's take a look at Tim at this mat return. So he's able to turn back into that. What I like when you get a man moving, right? So move him, and then time your sweep, right? When that foot is up in the air.
And that was the reversal right there. He came up, and that was still Hillger in control until Steveson took him down to the mat for that reversal.
And let's give Hillger some kudos here, because you know he arrived on the scene lately in this weight class. You know, became an All-American his freshman year. Now he's, you know, just because he's an All-American doesn't mean you're necessarily maybe at the level that Steveson was all last year, being the #1 seed. So he's doing some things here in this match, particularly with the quick escapes that are impressive. And you can see, even with the ability to try to ride Steveson, that he has some tools.
What Hillger could do, and he showed he can do, is he keeps a high pace. And so that'll test Steveson.
Yeah, and part of this is, again, some of the coaching he's getting. He hasn't been able,
Fingers,
to stay out of that left-handed underhook of Steveson's. So when Steveson commits to that, he's really effective. Again, couple that left-handed underhook series with his ability to attack both legs. I mean, he really has all the tools. And, you know, take a look at last year at the end of the season where, you know, and of course, Anthony Cassar, we'll talk about that maybe a little bit later here, where he's now out of line. Nice reshot there. Look at that roll through by Hillger. Not your average guy does that.
No control.
Boom.
2 takedowns.
I mean, that is an unbelievable feat right there when you're taking a 50-pound guy up off of his feet like that.
And, Jim, that might be where he learned it this morning as far as return to the mat. They were working out in the Minnesota room, Brock Lesnar and Gable.
Yeah, you'll see Gable probably implement a little bit of this technique, but I was impressed with, look at this. The old guy with his leg up in the air, totally comfortable in that situation, keeping his balance.
Until then.
Oh.
Steveson out in front, 8-3. That last takedown, nice return again to the mat. Keep Hillger on the mat. End up on top. Escape, 8-4. Guys respect each other. Two of the best in the land right here.
Well, Gable gave him a little shot on the shoulder, and Hillger looked at him like, "What's this about?" He said, "Yeah, you're right." You know, and that's the maturity factor that you started to expect, that we're hearing about here with Steveson. You know, in his matches last season, kind of alluded to this in the key ones here. There's just that little bit of got a little bit of weary, you know, and sometimes it affected your decision making out there. Not to say that he doesn't have it, but he's a special talent.
Let's check in with Shane. He's going to talk about an upcoming trip for Gable to Rome. There's 2 more points. Shane?
Yeah, you talked about it earlier, TJ, the success that Gable has had at the cadet and junior level. He's a world champion in both. Of course, he's got aspirations to be a world and Olympic champion. He's already qualified for the Olympic trials at Penn State in early April, that by winning the Bill Farrell. And as you mentioned, it's a busy weekend. He'll wrestle here tonight, get on a plane and head to Rome on Sunday for a UWW ranking series event.
Thanks, Shane. They got about 40 of our top USA Wrestling teammates going to Rome for that ranking tournament, and Gable Steveson will be among them. 10-5, counting down, 15 seconds left. He does have riding time, so he has a 6-point lead. With a takedown, it would be a major.
Yep, he's going for it, too. Still plenty of time with his style. Good match.
Good match. Gable Steveson wins 10-5. 10-5, no riding time, and the crowd appreciates it. They appreciate the athleticism of their heavyweight, and we're going to hang around right now, and because Minnesota is going to honor another one of their great heavyweights, Brock Lesnar. 20 years, Jim, since he won a national championship.
Well, Jay Robinson saw this guy, and 5 days later he was a Gopher. Didn't want anybody else to see him. And when you took a look at him on when he showed up, man, I tell you what, just took the world by storm. Wrestling world.
The Maturi Pavilion 4,000 here are being treated to this video showing the career of Brock Lesnar, WWE, UFC. Bigger than life, and bigger than most, Brock Lesnar. Let's join the presentation.
Welcome to the mat, international superstar, Brock Lesnar. In 2000, Lesnar was crowned the NCAA champion with a 3-2 victory over Iowa's West Hand in sudden victory. While Lesnar wrestled for the Gophers, he was a two-time NCAA finalist and racked up a 55-3 record with 23 pins in his 2 seasons with the Gophers. Since graduation, Lesnar has launched into stardom with his success in the WWE and UFC. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Gopher Wrestling alumni Brock Lesnar a round of applause to celebrate the 20th anniversary of his NCAA Championship title.
Tonight's State Farm State of Success is none other than Brock Lesnar. State Farm State of Success, 2000 NCAA champion for the Gophers, Brock Lesnar, fan favorite. There we go. The belt. Maybe not the belt.
Yeah, but a belt, you know. And what I liked about that is that he wanted to get his picture taken with Goldie. Right?
Yeah. He's a Gopher all the way through. 125-pound matchup coming up. I talked about these two freshmen, Eric Barnett, true freshman, and Patrick McKee, a redshirt freshman. The McKee brothers we'll see in the next 3 matches. Patrick, the redshirt freshman for the Gophers, trying to keep the shutout going. Minnesota out in front, 13-0 after the first 4 matches. We started at 174. It's been a shutout being thrown by the Gophers, 4-0 in the matchups. Now you'll see Patrick McKee and Eric Barnett. Barnett out of Greenville, Wisconsin, Hortonville High School. Highly recruited. The Badger fans are excited about the future with him. And then, of course, we've got Patrick McKee, Mitchell's brother, high-energy guy from St. Michael Albertville High School.
Nice shot there by Barnett, but it was fought off pretty well with a step over out that whizzer.
You think we say St. Michael Albertville High School a lot over the years when we do Minnesota meets. You're right. The Thorne brothers, 3 of them, the McKee brothers, all out of that high school in St. Michael, Minnesota. A Fargo champ, a 3-time state champ, Patrick McKee.
Come on, he's already breathing. Come on, feet.
Eric Barnett wrestles for the Ben Askren. He's a Ben Askren product. 3-time state champion.
Yeah, he's
wrestled with Ben's club, and he was an undefeated 3-time state champ.
Yeah, and all those St. Michael Albertsville kids were coached by Jared Lawrence, who was an NCAA champion for the Gophers. So
Action here.
when you have top-notch instruction, teachers, NCAA champions, it's hard not to have it rub off for you and you take it to another level. Trying to cut the corner, Barnett, but jumping over is
Barnett.
And if McKee can keep his head up.
He does keep his head up in the scramble. Now he's got to go ahead and secure that leg. He's got the bottom ankle grab right there. Okay, now if he can hook it, he improves his position, but he's got to get his left ankle kind of back into control. You can hear the official saying no control, but it's really improving his situation quite a bit. Got that overlock right there. Now you got to start threatening him and take him to his back.
Exactly, danger zone.
Yeah.
Got the takedown before the danger zone count, so Angel Rivera says 2 points. Takedown for Pat McKee.
Well, I think he gave him the benefit of the doubt for quite a while there, and McKee just kept on improving his position.
Barnett was the top recruit at his weight. He committed to the University of North Carolina at first, but then coaching change. Chris Bono came knocking. He said, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to go be a Badger.
Facing me.
That's saying quite a bit, because that North Carolina program under Coleman Scott is really improving, and expect big things in the future. Work there by Pat McKee.
25 seconds left in the first period. McKee out front 2-0. Coming to the end of this first period, we're going to go over, and Shane's got the guest of honor, Brock Lesnar.
Oh, good job there by McKee.
Oh, nice job by McKee. Coming around, like you said.
Well, here's what he did, was he ended up, he looked at that position was going to be all in favor of Barnett here, but he kind of let it go, and then right at the end, as they squared up, he had a nice go behind.
And let's go to Shane, who's got Brock.
Brock, pretty special moment. This place was going crazy. You've given them a lot of thrills. What's it like to come back here? What does this place mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. This is where it all started for me. Without this platform, Brock Lesnar wouldn't be Brock Lesnar. I love Minneapolis. I love the University of Minnesota. This is really where it all began for me.
Hard to believe it's been 20 years since you win that NCAA championship, part of some phenomenal Gopher teams. What are some of your favorite memories from that run?
Well, just being here and being part of this organization and part of this school, it was just the camaraderie of the guys. You know, back then it was just, we were building a team and trying to make and put Minnesota on the map. And it was just an exciting period of time for me. And like I said, it made me who I was today. So without this place, Brock Lesnar wouldn't be.
Thank you so much, Brock. Appreciate the time. Enjoy yourself tonight.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Life's about relationships. I say that a lot, and it seems like Brock Lesnar says it was the relationships that what he remembers.
Well, he wasn't from a part of the country that got highly recruited, and he's out there in the hinterlands, and again, he was at an open tournament, and Jay Robinson saw him wrestle, and within 5 days later, he's a Gopher, right? And so I'm sure that he was out there, wondering where he's going to fit into this world athletically, and all of a sudden he came to this situation here at Minnesota and became part of a rich tradition. 20 years this program is, 20 out of 24 years this program has been in the top 10.
3-0 lead for the Gopher Pat McKee at 125. Two up-and-comers, two freshmen, and 2 points. Now we're starting to think about bonus points for McKee, who's just, it's hard not to get after it and receive the energy when you've had 4 teammates before you with the, rolling with the momentum.
And he's got that little cross wrist tilt at the end of the mat. But you're exactly right, Tim. Going out there and making a physical statement. When you had a 5-0 lead and a little bit of riding time, that's the point in the match where you can feel like you can really take some risk on the top position. Hey, if you give up a reversal, even if you go to your back, no big deal. Mat return. Looking for that cross wrist ride right there. I expect him to totally commit it, but he's looking for a little movement underneath by Barnett, trying to get up to his knees.
McKee on a 3-match winning streak. He had a good win against Cardinale from Old Dominion, and had a loss to Brandon Petzel from Lehigh down at the Southeast Duels, but he's got a good year going and a really good match.
Well, he's a big 25-pounder. And normally when you see coaches decide for a coin flip, somebody in the lower weights is having maybe a tougher time making the weight. A little extra time right there helped him out a little bit. McKee there with the takedown.
He's able to drive through the neck wrench attempt by Barnett. 2 more points. Got the riding time. He's got a major decision right now with over a minute and a half left in the match.
Really asking him to go for that cross wrist ride. Barnett having a hard time keeping his wrist free. I like what he's doing right there with that good hard collar tie, breaking him down. So much of this is done with the lower body.
Got the warning on Barnett.
Didn't get it. We'll see how he scrambles back out of it. But now he's got a Turk set up.
Minute left in the third period. McKee getting out of some potential danger there as he rolls through. He's got approaching 3 minutes of riding time on Barnett.
Just easy breakdowns right there. Just coming hard with that tight waist.
Red!
I thought this match would be a little bit closer, Tim. Two freshmen out there.
Gentlemen.
McKee came out and set the pace early. He's out in front 8-0 now with that 1 extra point for stalling against Barnett. 20 seconds left. And this has been a very impressive performance by the redshirt freshman.
In every scramble, McKee seems to be winning. Nice work.
Nice work by Pat McKee. Another win. 3 more points on the board. 4 points, because that's the third major decision of the year for McKee. So 4 points on the board. 17-0 as we head to halftime. And the Gophers have it going on here at the border battle. And Brock Lesnar certainly appreciates not only being honored, but he loves the way the Gophers are wrestling. We'll be back. We'll have some special on the mat presentation. Brock still having fun. We're back at the Maturi Pavilion where Minnesota throwing a shutout 17-0, and we started at 174, Jim, and that certainly agrees with Minnesota.
Yeah, you know what, this just looks like old school Minnesota wrestling. Tough to score on here, tough on top, you know, winning those close matches and scrambles, and, you know, 17-0 at this point, pretty impressive.
Well, we're going to start at 133 for the second half. That certainly favors putting points on the board for the Badgers with national champion Seth Gross, the on-the-mat segment at halftime. He's an exciting wrestler, a special young man.
He really is, and, you know, that match that he had in the Midlands Finals after the loss that we saw on Big Ten Network against DeSanto, you know, really did a nice job. Probably one of the smarter wrestlers out there at the college level. Of course, he's a national champion. That goes without saying, but you know, his ability to make adjustments, pretty special. And we've yet to kind of see him kind of light it up in the top position, and for the Badgers to get back in this meet, he's got to do just that.
Here's 133. Seth Gross, the national champion, senior, up against Jake Gliva, the freshman for Minnesota. You see the 19-1 record. Lost in a dual meet against Austin DeSanto for Iowa. Surprised a lot of people. Austin DeSanto getting that #1 ranking, but Seth Gross getting a little revenge in the Midlands, winning 6-5. And here you see Seth Gross right there. National champion of South Dakota State. Thought he was done, had back surgery. Gets to 6th year. And here he is in the Badger uniform with his old coach, Chris Bono.
You know, what's fun about watching Seth Gross is that you're going to see maybe a little bit different type of athlete right now that likes to work off that 2-on-1. Nice job of settling back in.
Gross with the takedown over Gliva for Minnesota.
And here's where he's made his money right here off this cross wrist tilt. You see that Gliva did a nice little adjustment there, threading that left arm through underneath, and difficult. Most guys go over with that. And must have felt the right amount of leverage.
Gross back home in Minneapolis area, Apple Valley High School, and same high school as Gable Steveson, and grew up wrestling and started at the University of Iowa.
Well,
had some things happen there that made him have to leave Iowa, and then not know where he was going to be. Went to South Dakota State, and the rest is history.
Yeah, these are the type of techniques that we see. You know, like Spencer Lee's kind of the same thing. The old things that you see from your high school wrestling coach who's 30 pounds bigger than you. He's got that type of feel out there.
Trying to get her done here in the first period. Get 6 points on the board.
Nice job by Gliva keeping that shoulder up off the mat.
So, out in front, Seth Gross, #1 in Flow Wrestling's rankings here as we begin the new year, 2020. It's out in front, 6-0 on the takedown and 4-point near fall.
Notice how he's not letting that bottom leg go right there. He's got that bottom leg flipped right there. Now he's going to come back to the wrist ride. Short time. Again, expert wrestler that where he's made his money is in the top position. Great scrambler.
He was second in the NCAAs as a junior in 2017.
Yeah.
Sixth-year senior.
Notice how high he gets right there off the top. He's working that near wrist ride. Works Turks. Now he's going to do a little far ankle turn right there with the kind of bow and arrow right there where he hooks the leg. Reaches back, and now he's just expecting Gliva to just go ahead and work a little bit in here, see if he can get anything that can go ahead so he get that head close to the knee.
Does that belly tilt there to get Gliva down to his chest.
Yeah, the Gliva is not really giving him anything. He's keeping the head away from the knee and not really presenting himself all that much. But, you know, I can't blame him right now. He's in a position where he's being dominated. Now he's coming back with the quarter Nelson.
Nice job, Gliva.
Let's go to Shane. He's with the coach from Minnesota.
I talked with Coach Eggum, obviously very happy with the effort. He said those guys went out there, they attacked, they were moving forward, taking territory, and most importantly, won a couple of really close matches. Those can go either way, really sets the tone for the second half. Big match at 141 pounds with Mitchell McKee and Tristan Moran. Coach Eggum said with McKee, he throws fire into the wind, he lets it fly. It'll be critical for him to stay basic. But as we know, Mitchell McKee is anything but basic. TJ?
Thanks, Shane. That's coming up next at 141. We talked about it in the opening. But right now, Seth Gross out in front 7-0 with the escape here in the second period.
And Gliva kind of feeling it right now as far as working himself back into the match. And that probably works a little bit better for Gross if he does push in a little bit more like a... most of his techniques will work a little bit better once the opponent moves into him. See how Gliva's just circling back out, very cautious, and then Gross says enough of this and just hits a straight double.
Still red.
Yeah. One of the best guys in the country about making you put weight on the hands. You see where that right knee is there at the crook of the elbow. Goes right into that cross wrist ride. Now 2-on-1. That's a great little setup there for capturing that near wrist.
Keep it legal.
Good job.
Yeah.
Green,
going to get a stall
green
warning.
stalling, green, 1 red.
A lot of pressure put on by Seth Gross. He has that back leg anchor hooked often. Now he's got the bar arm tilt.
2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's got 4 count right now. Now it comes into a figure 4.
Figure 4 on the head, arches the back. Well, nice job by Gliva coming to his belly there.
Certainly put the right guy out here to preserve that team point, not giving up a fall.
Absolutely, and Gliva working hard against the best in the land. 14-0 though. Seth Gross out in front. He's still got a period to go and just needs one more point for the tech fall, which is 2 extra points for the team. 5-0, but as Jim, you pointed out, it's 1 less than being pinned. Chris Bono, so excited to have Seth Gross on his team, and Seth Gross leading the way for the Badgers.
And how that's important for Coach Bono. You know, he's in the process of trying to get people to believe in what he's doing. See that Gross looking for the big move there. But when you have somebody transfer there, there's a technical fall though, but you have somebody like Gross transferring to your program that's able to communicate the trusted relationship and why you should trust Coach Bono in his process. And being a 2-time finalist, guy who's already qualified for the Olympic team.
That's right, at 57
Olympic
kilos.
Qualifier.
Down to 8 pounds down, or yeah, about 8 pounds down from what he wrestles at 125 and a half. 141, Tristan Moran versus Mitch McKee.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. These guys split last year. Mitch McKee won the round of 12 match at the Nationals to become an All-American. I'm sure that point has not been lost on Moran. So, a lot of fireworks when these guys get together. They put up a lot of points, a lot of scrambles. McKee with 8 falls on the season.
McKee lost to Moran in the duel last year and beat him in the round of 12 to become an All-American.
There, right back in on a shot. Pretty basic there for McKee, but he's able to shelf the leg.
2 takedowns!
Gets the arm limped out there, gets the quick 2.
And vintage McKee always comes out hard. High energy guy.
You know, he comes
Look at
out
me,
hard,
bud.
but I
Look at
rarely
me.
see him get worn out.
Green, hold until I tell you. Hold until I tell you. Set red. On top.
You know, we've seen that before in big meets where a guy will come out there with everything they have, and all of a sudden, you know, 5 minutes
Neutral.
left, the match is going to turn.
Tristan Moran out of Phoenix, Arizona, also on the way through Stillwater High School. Stillwater, Oklahoma, started at Oklahoma State and then transferred to Wisconsin. A little connection there because his brother wrestled at South Dakota State for Bono, and so Coach Bono knew who he was when he entered the transfer portal. The Moran family was very comfortable knowing that this would be a good place for Moran to be a Badger.
Yeah, we just talk about this, you know, rivalry, what it can be, you know, with these two programs. I mean, honestly, you know, Coach Bono would like to see his program get to where Minnesota has gotten to, you know, so this is going to be an important match for a long time.
Another 2 points for Mitch McKee. Out in front 4-1. 2 quick takedowns for the Gopher. Gophers are on the board. They got 5 points by the technical fall.
Still green, still green, still green.
By Seth Gross. So it's 17-5 Gophers with 4 matches left.
That's a great call by Angel Rivera. The hand was all the way around to the far hip here. Waited till that was released. A lot of times you see officials will give that call a little bit early. And he really hasn't really gained control. Now McKee back in on this position here with the underhook. Now he's going to try to shelf that right ankle.
No, stop.
Now he's
Neutral.
going to get the potentially dangerous call. Still anybody's match, though.
Set.
So far, McKee has taken away the strength of Moran. Moran loves to get on top, but you're not going to get on top in the first period if you can't get the takedown. McKee with 2 takedowns out in front 4-2.
And you notice that they didn't spend a lot of time trying to ride him either because he
Funky.
ran also pretty good with reversals.
Great scrambler.
And in talking to Brandon Eggum on the call, he basically said that we'd like to see Mitchell become more basic, you know, and then let those big moves kind of naturally flow into your wrestling. You always have them in your back pocket, but sometimes you get in trouble when you force them.
Yeah, once the He's best when he keeps it simple versus this funky, wild wrestling. That's the way Coach phrased it. He's a physical horse, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, nice job coming out the back door so far. Let's see if he tries to keep those ankles free. Keep those ankles free. That right ankle is tied up.
No takedown. Let's go to Shane.
All right, TJ, with Seth Gross, he pointed out to me, born and raised in Apple Valley, getting it done in front of friends and family. You're new to the Big Ten. What's this experience been like so far?
It's amazing, and I think it's the best possible thing for my wrestling is just being able to go out there and wrestle top guys on a consistent basis. And, you know, Austin DeSanto, Sebastian Rivera, the list goes on and on at 133, and being able to butt heads with those guys on a regular basis versus seeing them a couple times a year at South Dakota, it's just gonna do nothing but elevate where I want to be with my wrestling and get me ready for where I want to eventually be.
When you won that national title 2 years ago for South Dakota State with Chris Bono in Brookings, what did you learn about what it takes to stand atop the podium? You've done it.
I'd say resiliency. I mean, you got to be able to deal with just a lot of adversity, especially when you get to the national tournament. You need to put 5 almost perfect matches together, and sometimes you're going to feel good, sometimes you're going to feel bad, and you're going to deal with adversity, injuries, maybe sickness, whatever it is, and you got to show up every single time. And that's kind of the big thing, is just get tough. Get tough no matter what you're feeling. 3 things you can always control is your hustle, your effort, your attitude, and that's 3 big things we talk about. So no matter how you're feeling, go out there and show that hustle, effort, and attitude.
Appreciate the time, Seth. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Chet, don't lose.
Get it, buddy.
Take a look at McKee here, doing a nice job of riding in the top position here, really controlling the hips. Good mat returns. Now you see that little neck wrench. Oh, they're going to call lock hands right there. Angel Rivera is on the lock hands call right away, so they're going to stop it and work the points.
One red.
I don't think the minutes. Well, Brandon Megham's coming to the.
You're down, buddy.
Maybe coming to the head table here to.
Hey, red, let's go.
Question the call.
And his coaches are saying, come on back.
Not only his coaches, but
and
the
Brock,
rest of his wrestlers.
And Brock.
Gable, Steveson, Brock.
So the 1-point penalty for the locked hands makes it a 1-point match.
But all of a sudden,
out front.
Quick escape, Tim, and it's a tie.
1, 2, 3.
He's doing a nice job of staying with him, though, isn't he? With staying tight to those hips. You know what? Seth Gross just mentioned this. You get to the national tournament and you get in tight matches just like this, where there's familiarity between the opponents. You know what the situation is. You can't let the referee take you out of your style. And that didn't, right there with McKee trying to, with the ride, he gets caught a little bit low there, and Moran's able to go ahead and step back over. This is a potentially dangerous situation, possibly with that left shoulder, and Angel Rivera calls a stalemate.
So the reversal by Moran puts him up 5-4. Mitch McKee dodges a bullet there from a standpoint of where Moran's really good, and so he was able to stop the momentum there and probably cut his losses.
Yeah, so you go out there and got 2 takedowns, and you find yourself down 5-4. Leg comes in real quick.
And where you don't want to be.
Yeah, with him, and Moran rides on that right-hand side. Now he's got both legs in, and this match is really taking a turn with that lock hands call.
The tale of 2 halves of a match. For the first
couldn't be further apart.
Match and a half, and for the first half of the match, it was all McKee, and now Moran feeling the momentum, putting a lot of pressure on McKee, and has the lead.
Yeah, it'll be McKee's choice.
And it's how you feel right now, Jim.
Yeah, you know, that's what we're talking about with Gross. I think he correctly identified, what the challenges are to becoming a national champion, putting those, 5 and 6 matches together.
And here the crowd understands McKee going under. Moran's strength is on top, but if you're going to win at this level and be an All-American and keep climbing the ladder, McKee's got to be able to get away from the best.
Yeah, he wasn't able to keep that right leg from coming in. But he is able to get to his feet. Now, you've got to push the leg away. He's able to do that, gets the escape.
Good escape. Let's go to Shane. He's got more on this matchup.
Guys, this is deja vu for me. You go back to last year in the duel at Madison. McKee was winning 5-1. Moran stormed back for sudden victory and actually pinned McKee. Then McKee at the national tournament, the round of 12, the blood round. It was another comfortable lead for McKee. Moran raced back, ultimately fell by 1. McKee was an All-American. So once again, these two guys, it's fireworks. They're worth the price of admission.
And it is fireworks. Thanks, Shane. Moran gets a takedown there. It's 7-5 after McKee's escape. Moran back in for the takedown.
Yeah, you know what he's able to do there is able to get to the shot and then just freeze on it. And then McKee kind of did the rest, kind of put him in a subpar position. That chest wrap wasn't enough. He just switched off to a double and collected the 2.
That hard work Chris Bono talks about Moran putting in the room every day could be paying off here. He's punishing on top.
Wow, both legs in tough. What a turn on this match. Going out there and capturing his own takedown.
These matchups have so much to do with the seeding at the conference tournament and on at the NCAA's, Jim.
Well, we've always been talking about this incessantly, but the quick escapes early in the match made a big difference.
The crowd exhorting Mitchell to follow his brother's example here. His younger brother with a win at 125.
Got to find a way to push that leg away.
An escape and a takedown is the
He's
formula.
got the head and arm.
And an escape. So a warning against Moran. An escape. 35 seconds.
Can you get a shot off with all that heavy riding that's been paying a toll on you? Keep pushing. Now as he gets a duck under. Nice job of stepping back by Moran.
1 point. A couple of shots may even get a stalling call here.
Totally committed to that fireman's carry. Now a scramble situation.
Moran did a nice job of sitting in the corner there immediately.
He's going to turn into him right there. He should, no, good job by the high leg over there by Moran. He's going to collect the points.
And there, Moran, very tough at the end. Great action. Moran comes away with a 1-point win, 7-6. 3 points on the board for the Badgers.
Great job there by Moran. Coming back after giving up 2 takedowns in the first period, Tim. You don't see that very often. Showing a lot of poise.
2 big wins for Wisconsin. Seth Gross and Moran. And they've got 8 points on the board. 17-8. Minnesota leads. We'll be right back. Wrestling on BTN is brought to you by Cliff Keen Athletic. Wrestle with the best. And brought to you by Defense Soap. Defend what you have built. Brock Lesnar night. It's been a big night for the former NCAA champion, world champion, UFC, and WWE. We're ready for 149 pounds. 3 matches left in the evening. Cole Martin, the senior, going up against a very impressive freshman, Brayton Lee, the freshman.
Okay, good luck. Shake hands. Set.
Cole Martin out of Lancaster, Wisconsin. Lancaster High School with a 3-time state champion, a 3-time NCAA qualifier. Real steady presence in the Badger lineup. Going against Brayton Lee, he's had a great start in his redshirt freshman year, Jim.
Yeah, he really has. It's been fun to watch. Good performance at the Cliff Keen.
Winning champion of Cliff Keen as the freshman at 149. Big Ten Wrestler of the Week.
Look at his footwork there, trying to get the angle there off that front headlock and snap. Brayton Lee. Also Military Appreciation Day here for the Missouri Pavilion.
Crowd giving a nice appreciation applause to our service men and women.
Sporting some fantastic looking singlets there with the red, white, and blue. Minnesota gray.
Brayton Lee, 3-time state champion in Indiana out of Brownsburg High School in Brownsburg, Indiana. Redshirt freshman, front headlock, little action, try to go around, and Cole Martin squaring up nicely.
Yeah, he did a nice job of squaring up there, but I'm impressed with Lee with the way he's seeing everything right now as far as his opponent's shots, and he's adjusting to it. excellent footwork. Now he's working off that left-handed underhook, see if he can follow it up.
Fargo champion, junior national champion. Fargo, North Dakota, every year. Thousands of the best wrestlers in the nation.
And just his footwork right now is just, you know, he's not camping out in the tie. And if you're moving your feet, it can make you the leverage on your ties that much more effective. And again, gets the benefit of it out of the call because he's moving forward, changing angles. Looks like Cole Martin working with a double underhook now. He's got to take advantage of that. Even though Lee is blocking out pretty well right there. See how they follow through with an ankle pick. If your feet are moving, those ankle picks usually don't work.
Brayton Lee, number 4, ranked at this weight class as a freshman. And Cole Martin, Steady Eddie, Chris Bono calls him, ranked number 12.
Yeah, 23 seconds left in the period so far. A pretty good period for Martin. Interesting weight class at 149 is it's Pat Lugo, now Iowa ranked number 1.
Really upped his game.
Yeah, he has, no question about it.
He has. Midland's champion and a little more action all the way through the 7 minutes. And 0-0 at the end of this first period. Brayton Lee, the Gopher, gets the choice, but he defers. Cole Martin chooses down.
But there's a few guys in this weight class, of course, that you're going to be at the highest level, but it really opens up pretty quick here as far as the rankings go. The round of 12 this year at the NCAA tournament, you're going to see, you know, if one team gets hot, you can see huge swings.
Neutral.
Maybe does it. Nice shot there. Good switch off to a double. Gets him up off his feet.
The quickness.
Yeah, and it's all just set up by his footwork.
Brayton Lee goes out in front 2-1 after Martin's escape in the second period.
Not working the mat return that hard as Brayton Lee more comfortable on his feet.
You can see that Martin is a workhorse. The talent, just a little bit different between Lee and Martin here.
Right.
Good looking freshman.
Yeah, nice little swing single right there. Good job of fighting it off by Martin, but he limps out of it there pretty easily. Lee does. Gets the takedown.
Lee going to work here in the second period. The first minute of that second period, he's had 2 takedowns. He's out in front 4-2 after a 0-0 first period.
Well, again, the Badger with the couple quick escapes now. And he hasn't given up riding time. See if he can work himself back into the match. Next takedown, it's probably either going to be close to a major or else the other guy's an opportunity to win. And there's the spinning around. The go-behind work that Lee seems to be pretty effective at. Got to clear that left arm right there on the thigh. See if he can reach back to it. He does. See what he creates with this. Short time.
And Brayton Lee leads 4-3 at the end of the second period. Let's go to Shane. He's with Tristan Moran.
Tristan Moran, what a match. You and Mitchell McKee never disappoint. 2 crazy matches last year, another crazy one tonight. How do you put a spin on this?
Yeah, first off, I just want to say hats off to Mitch McKee. You know, he's an amazing competitor. Every time we wrestle, I know it's going to be fun. He's my favorite person to wrestle in the NCAA by far because he just brings it, and it's just fun every time. We just want to throw points and just wrestle to the best we can, and it's always fun. He's a great kid, too. Just awesome match.
Every time you guys wrestle, this being the 3rd time, I mean, you put yourself in a hole, but you find a way to rally back. Just speak about that inner poise and perseverance.
Yeah, I don't know. Since I was young, I've just always had this thing in me. Even if I'm losing by 14 points going into the 3rd, I'm like, I'll pull it out. Like, I'm always surprised when I lose, honestly. Like, I just always have it in my mind that I'm going to somehow find a way and get the win.
If we could watch you and Mitchell McKee every day, we'd be selling out 15, 20,000 seat arenas. It's always a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you. No problem. It's a blast.
Thanks, Shane. That's a great comment, Jim. Were you always surprised when you lost? national
gonna
champion.
disclose that.
National champion.
Not gonna disclose
But that's a great attitude, isn't it?
No, it
Great
was.
perspective.
I love Moran's eye contact with the camera right there.
Yeah.
He's just letting us, he's coming into your living room and telling you how life is, and tremendous respect for his opponent. I'd like to see that too.
1
Great
minute
job.
left in the third period here. Brayton Lee, the freshman, out in front of the senior, 5-3. Riding time is not an issue here. So a takedown by Martin would tie it up. 45 seconds left in the third period. Nice outside shot, but good squaring up by Martin.
Yeah, and Lee's still on the offense right now. Now he's going under 30 seconds now, and this is probably going to shorten it up a little bit with the lead. So he's working the collar pretty hard there, now pushing away. It's really tough to be able to score on a guy like this that moves his feet so well. You can't just go straight in on him. That's what's going to happen. You have that go behind, but Martin was running out of choices at that point.
Very impressive. Redshirt freshman Brayton Lee, another takedown out in front, 7-4 now with the escape. Short time, that's how it's going to end. 3 more points on the board for Minnesota. They go out in front, 20-8. The outstanding wrestler presented by Cliff Keen Athletics is Owen Webster. Owen Webster.
This takedown sequence with Johnny Sebastian was something special where he was able to get out of that situation. Looked like a jack-in-the-box popping out of that one there. And then this go behind there. Old school Gopher tough.
Sudden victory win for our outstanding wrestler presented by Cliff Keen Athletic. 157, Drew Scharenbrock up against Carson Brolsma, freshman versus senior. We've seen a couple of these tonight, and we'll see. There's the senior, Carson Brolsma. He's down from 165 last year. Lean anyway. I talked to him about that cut, and he said, well, a little different on weigh-in days. Last year I was eating all the time before weigh-ins. Now I have to wait until after them.
Yeah, 2 very difficult weight classes this year. I mean, you take a look at this weight class, 157, got some talent in it, headed up by Ryan Deacon from Northwestern. A lot of suspects in that weight class there. Nice job by Scharenbrock. Got the leg in. I think that's pretty close to being 2.
That's 2 takedowns.
And that's 2 for Scharenbrock out of the gate here up against Brolsma.
Keep wrestling, gentlemen. Keep wrestling.
The freshman on top. Freshman out of Sun Prairie, Wisconsin.
That if you can get down to 57, looking at that 165-pound weight class with likes of Vincenzo Joseph, Marinelli, Evan Wick, who we'll see next, many others.
So many gentlemen.
Tough weight class. Isaiah White from Nebraska. I'm missing somebody pretty obvious here, but this is probably the most packed weight.
Top.
Yeah, you got Marinelli for Iowa, and we're going to see Evan Wick, one of the best, coming up at 165 for Wisconsin. And right now, the Badger, Drew Scharenbrock, out in front 2-0 on the senior seasoned Gopher, Carson Brolsma. So it's a good start for the Badger, and the escape. Does a nice job of bailing out. The Badger did, and Brolsma gets the escape. There's your Flow Wrestling rankings going across the bottom. Deacon really looking tough this year for Northwestern. Hayden Hidley, watched him win the Southern Scuffle. David Carr, the real deal from Iowa State. Caleb Young from Iowa. You talk about a top 4 or 5. Kenny Mundy's son, Quincy Mundy, they're in the 5th spot.
And he has a win over Caleb Young, but Young avenged that loss, I believe, at the Midlands.
Center! Center!
1 minute left in the first period. Scharenbrock had an early first takedown. Brolsma got the escape. We're in the 9th match. Minnesota leads this border battle 20-8 over the Badgers. 157 here, and we'll end the night at 165. We started at 174.
Good activity by Scharenbrock. He's Nice little snaps. You can tell he got the stall warning on Brolsma here just by, basically pushing him off the mat. So he's totally into moving the guy off the mat.
Yeah, and he's doing a nice job working the head.
Another call. He manufactured another point.
Right here. Right here.
A lot of hustle going on by the Badger right now.
Yeah, and he's putting it on him here, moving forward again. So that really active head, butting that head forward, coming straight on. Brolsma's not able to clear and get to the tie. Get the leg shot off. How tight they are there. It's really where Scharenbrock wants to be.
Nice cut, no takedown here. Let's take a look at the flow. Top 10. The Big Ten dominance, and perhaps maybe more so than ever, Tim.
Well, it's not going to surprise anybody to see 8 teams in the Big Ten at the end of the year. But look at Purdue, right? Coach Ursuline doing a nice job with that program. And Northwestern, nobody should go to sleep on that program either. They could be a top 4 trophy winner. So I'm sold on them. When you take a look at Deacon and Sebastian Rivera, it's interesting to me because it could be one of those years if you got 3 high-placing All-Americans, you could collect a team trophy this year. It's that with the redshirting and injuries and just the lack of depth, that it's not going to take too much of a tournament team to place pretty high. That's why that round of 12 is just going to be amazing this year. Going to be huge swings in the team standings.
The round of 12, they go down to 8. The top 8 are the All-Americans. And so that blood round, as we call it there, is you are 1 match away. You win it, and you are an All-American. And you score more points.
Yeah, and so that's going to be a huge part of it. And so if you got a couple guys that get maybe to the finals and a couple more guys that place in that 5 to 8 range, you might be a top 5 team. Nice job by Scharenbrock here with that cradle.
Scharenbrock putting a lot of pressure on top.
And Brolsma trying to keep that leg kind of figure forward, that left shoe right over the top of keeping that left leg of Scharenbrock tied up. He gives up on the cradle as a result of it, but that looked like he was going over for a little bit.
Scharenbrock out in front, 3-1. A takedown in the first period, plus stalling. So Brolsma has been warned. He's been called again. So that third point is a stall point for Scharenbrock, and he is certainly putting a lot of pressure. He looks like Seth Groth on top with that hook leg on the back and the pressure on the top.
Yep, putting a lot of weight on the man's chest. Now Brolsma trying to come out the back door. Again, even if he gets a reversal here, there's so much riding time advantage here for Scharenbrock, already over 230.
Trying to come out the back door there. Can Scharenbrock stay in a position of control? 10 seconds left. Looks like he's going to be able to.
And he just knows exactly where he is, and he's been able to stuff the head of Brolsma and stay in the top position. Hey, this is a nice physical comeback here by these Badgers in the back half of the meet.
Back half, we started at 133 and 141. Wins for Gross and Moran. Trying to get a third win here after going 0-5 in the first 5 matches. Gophers came out of the cannon blasting out with 5-0, but Badgers working their way back.
This Scharenbrock has put a lot of energy into this match so far. It still looks pretty fresh. Still taking territory, moving forward. And Brolsma has not been able to clear himself except at the end of the period. Now he gets to a leg. Not able to clear his head off. See that right hand hunting for that ankle. He needs to push it away. If he pushes it away, he's got an opportunity to come out the back door, but he lost that opportunity. Now Scharenbrock putting his weight back up over the top. This guy looks like he's been working out with Ben Askren. Not only looks like Ben Askren, but he's got the same sort of difficult to score on. He's got that type of strength as well. Look at him flopping back over.
Real comfortable looking about Scharenbrock. He hasn't been in the lineup all the time, making a case for him being the regular starter at 157 for sure. 40 seconds left in regulation time.
Yep.
And 2 points. Takedown for Scharenbrock. Goes out in front 5-1. He's got riding time, effectively a 5-point lead. He'll get one at the end of the match for that riding time that can't be erased.
Solid performance. Again, taking territory in the beginning of the match, getting the stall call on the push out, pretty much, and then being real physical on top.
Keep that legal. Keep it legal.
3 minutes and 15 seconds of riding time to this point.
Scharenbrock gonna
step over at the career time. He's,
no points at the end, but a dominant performance, a great workman-like dominant performance by the freshman Drew Scharenbrock. Wins 6-1, 3 points on the board for Wisconsin, 20-11 now. They've won 3 out of the last 4, and they will be a big favorite in the next match and the last match. Evan Wick, 2-time All-American, coming up at 165 pounds. We're having a good time at Maturi Pavilion tonight. It's Brock Lesnar night. High-fiving, flexing. All the kids in the building coming down to get pictures with the man Brock Lesnar.
Pretty cool.
Who's having a better time, the kids or Brock?
No, this is live. We're live here. This is overwhelming for Brock here, just to be able to be with all these kids who want to be near.
Yeah, I don't think it's Wisconsin, Minnesota. I don't think either Rogers or Cousins are as popular as Brock Lesnar right now.
They're all coming up for their high fives now.
Yep.
Awesome.
Awesome time, a lot of fun. Great wrestling tonight. And we've got one more great match coming up. Brock Lesnar night, 20 years ago, national champion for the Gophers. Let's take a look at the takedown of the meet. It's presented by Resolite. The best takedowns take place on a Resolite.
This might look a little familiar here with that little move the man a little bit. Pop up.
Where did you learn that, Jim?
Yeah, you probably learned it working out with this guy. Look at this guy go after it here. Pop his hips up, brings his hips to the party, slams him down.
There you go. That's what the kids are going to be doing before they go to bed tonight. Mom says, what are you doing?
Well, Tim, didn't you say that you've been to the Gable Museum and there's a picture of Brock Lesnar in their wrestling room?
I was at the National Wrestling Hall of Fame yesterday, the Dan Gable Museum, director Jim Miller, and he told me, Becca Roper and his assistant told me that the most popular attraction at the Dan Gable Museum is Brock Lesnar's bigger-than-life picture on the wall in their wrestling room, and the kids go up, they get pictures, they flex like him. And I told Brock that, and I said, you need to get down to the Dan Gable Museum. And he says, I really do. And so, great place. 165. Evan Wick, 2-time All-American, going up against Bailey O'Reilly, a sophomore. Having a good year, good start, 16-5. Evan Wick, 6-1, his only loss coming against Marinelli in the dual meet against Iowa.
Yep. Evan Wick, the All-American, 2-time All-American. He's had to wait for the kids to get off the mat, Brock to get off the mat. He's waiting for his opponent to come out of these doors. A really great entrance that they have here at the Maturi Pavilion. Guys coming out. Great crowd today.
Here we go, last match of the evening. Minnesota going to win this dual meet, but 3 out of the last 4 matches have been the Wisconsin Badgers. Obviously, Wick, the favorite here, the 2-time All-American junior.
Slick little effort there by Wick, and sometimes there's a nice little shot right there. He tries to come out the back door. Notice how he goes elbow deep around that ankle. Now he's trying to keep his own ankles free.
Danger one. Nothing. Still no control.
Job
Gentlemen,
there.
still no control.
Guy has head up, usually wins a scramble here in this situation.
Nothing.
So
No control. 2
coming back around
takedown.
as he spreads the arm out, collects the 2.
Evan Wick with the 2 points. He's long, he's flexible. Redshirt junior. Out of California. His high school coach, John Azevedo. And he had a great start as a freshman.
Still live at the edge. Still live at the edge,
Getting
gentlemen.
3rd at the NCAAs.
Yeah, that was an amazing year for Evan Wick because he ended up, you know, and sometimes when you're a freshman, you have upperclassmen guys, they're looking to score points, and they're the aggressor. They're out there, and Wick was able to go ahead with his range and cut the corner on these guys. And then once he was in the top position, did a lot of cradles and used his length really well. And as you know, you get scouted out at this level, you know, there's more guys that are not going to commit to you. And so you've been able to go ahead and generate offense, and that's why that shot that you just saw is going to be really important for his quest to winning a national championship, going out and manufacturing points on the feet for Evan Wick.
We're certainly talking about a young man that could win that national championship right in the hunt out of Murrieta, California. Going up against his sophomore, Bailey O'Reilly, out of Goodhue, Michigan.
Well, I can tell you this, if you stood on that stand one time, all right, you quickly recognize that you know, that everything else, once you've been on that stand once, everything else is about being on the top of it. And it doesn't always work out that way, but it's just the recognition. Once you've been there, once you've placed, there's no other place to be, and you dedicate the rest of your life to getting there while you have eligibility.
O'Reilly getting warned for stalling underneath here in the first period. A lot of pressure being put on. This is Evan Wick, is where he's great. He gets that leg in.
Shortens matches.
Yep. And that back leg is his post so often, and so that's how he can get that pressure into you so long.
And having a guy like Seth Gross in the room is going to help him as well. And you know, Gross has a lot of those little tricks. He works to get that cross wrist ride.
All right, Wick out in front 2-0. Let's go to Shane. He's with Gable Steveson.
Gable, I recently read an increased discipline with your diet, the way you train, your weightlifting. When did you have that aha moment, knowing you'd have to sharpen your skills and your approach?
Probably when I didn't win last year. I mean, I had to pick it up from right there. Normally I was getting tired mid-match, but now I feel like I'm really getting through it. And with my diet and my lifestyle level right now, I think it's great.
You got a big personality, the backflips, pretty good dancer, fan of Muhammad Ali. But this year you got that big smile. But make no mistake about it, the mentality this year is business. You want to win that title.
Oh yeah, it's just we're getting after this year, and I mean this year means a lot for me. NCAA is in Minneapolis this year, and I think it's real good for me to go get after and show who I really am and who I can be on the mat.
What'll be most important for you these final couple months, the drive to that title?
Just keep my head on straight and just keep pushing forward with my team, and we'll do great things together.
Always appreciate the time. Thanks, Gable.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shane. And Evan Wick, a reversal plus a point for stalling. Evan Wick really getting after it. Gives the escape here.
Yeah, it gives up the escape there, but Scott, again, looking to see, attack to the other side, but, you know, going back to Shane's interview with Gable, that interview was in the Star Tribune, and I thought he did a really good job of evaluating himself about losing some of those matches. You know, he said mid-period, and maybe it was closer to maybe the third period that where he's maybe losing a little bit of his conditioning, but he's all business here this year. Like his approach, very mature.
Evan Wick, a great approach here. The number 6 ranked 165-pounder out in front, 5-1. Tough first Big Ten match ever for Bailey O'Reilly. Tough draw.
Yeah, it is a tough draw. Looking for Evan Wick to, 38 seconds left. Still plenty of time to get another shot off, another takedown. He was able to go ahead and tack that left leg right there with the ankle band. There you see the left leg. I guess they both have ankle bands on there, but the left leg of O'Reilly. Now he's switching sides on it. Good job by O'Reilly, just, you know, tying Wick up.
Shane just let me know that in talking to Gable, he's not going to go to Rome, so he'll be in the lineup, and the plans were changed, and so we had reported earlier that Gable was going to be taking off for Rome and not being with the team for the next couple of weeks, but not so. He'll be in the maroon and gold.
Yeah, it's interesting this year to watch all the different paths that are chosen to try to make that Olympic team. Some of the guys with college eligibility, how they're going about it. You know, some are taking the full Olympic red shirt and doing, you know, strictly international competition. Others, like you know, Spencer Lee and Gross, are taking the college approach. We've seen several examples of guys that have gone through full college seasons, and you know, that was their time and opportunity to medal and win worlds. So, you know, it's whatever is best for you. But I just know it's going to be an exciting first week in April at State College when that team is decided. See the Gopher bench there alerted Angel Rivera to a potential locked hands call, but
Evan Wick really workmanlike here, keeping the pressure from the start on Bailey O'Reilly. Like I said, in his first ever Big Ten dual meet.
Yeah, and this is some of that stuff we saw with the Gross worked on there, right there with that knee over the elbow. And having a guy that's, I think they got a lot of that from A.J. Shop, who was in the wrestling program, or wrestling room with South Dakota State, that passed that a lot of that stuff on to Gross. He was an expert in the top position.
Yeah, and you can see the influence in the Badger room from Gross. Yeah. A little blood time right now. Minnesota out in front 20-11. This is the last match, 165. Coming up on BTN, The Big Show delivers highlights, post-game interviews, and the latest news and notes from around the conference. Don't miss The Big Show. Coming up next on BTN and the Fox Sports app. They're going to recap the day in wrestling on this show. We had a big day in Big Ten wrestling. Matchups going all over the place. Penn State won a close one over Illinois. And other matchups going around the nation in the Big Ten. So
yeah, it's first big weekend of the conference schedule, really, and you know, some of these teams have met here before, but this next couple of months here with meets every weekend and Friday, Sunday broadcast and others that we have on, it's fantastic coverage that we're getting from the network, and our wrestling fans love the Big Ten Network.
So Evan Wick, from start to finish, has just been smothering. He's been punishing on top. And the two-time All-American, no problems tonight. And he is putting good ending for the Badgers. Badgers come up short in the dual meet. 3 more points on the board. And final score, 20-14. Jim, great start for Minnesota. Good ending for Badgers. Your thoughts about the meet?
You know, it's just like we said in the beginning, this is going to evolve into being a special rivalry, I think, between these two schools. Expect them to be, you know, top 10, top 15 programs, and hopefully, you know, for both of them looking to take home team trophies. Minnesota, with their health, has already set themselves up for that with a 3 ranking right now, and you see why.
Yeah, it was a big night, Brock Lesnar night here, and he's a big man, a big personality, and a lot of fun. The Gophers win over the Badgers in the border battle, 20-14. That'll do it from Minneapolis for Jim Gibbons and Shane Sparks. I'm Tim Johnson. The Big Show is coming up next, right here on the Big Ten Network.